Aloha, this is Momi with Rise and Thrive Publishing and Girl with Grit and Grace. And I am bringing you Project 28, habit number 4, which is forgive yourself, then forgive others. I previously, or you should have watched habit 1, which is embrace your higher power. Habit 2, which is find a network and connect regularly. And then habit 3, which is love yourself so you can love others. Again, this is habit 4, forgive yourself, then forgive others. Let's dig right in. So let's look at the bubbles right here. The first one is Mahatma Gandhi said, the weak can never forgive because forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. That let that sink in, let that resonate, because I'm sure you've heard it before. Forgiveness is not for the person you're forgiving. Forgiveness is for yourself. And that is not easy to do, and it takes courage, it takes strength. But if you are, or if you consider yourself courageous and strong, or if you want to be, then forgiveness is something that we should focus on. All right, let's take a look at this next bubble. Judge not, and you will not be judged. Condemn not, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Now, that is from the Christian Bible, Luke 6:37. I am a Christian. I do believe in the Lord and Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit. But you don't have to be, just for this quote to resonate with you, right? Judge not, and then you won't be judged. Don't condemn either if you don't want to be condemned. But forgive, and you will be forgiven. So just some words of wisdom that, we all should live by and remember. Okay, now let's look below the squiggly line here. It says, the directions say to read these tips on how to forgive yourself and others. We're going to read tip number 1 first. Okay, and that is to be kind to yourself and treat yourself like you would treat a friend. Very, very important tip. I remember when I wrote my first book, it was about a memoir. It was a memoir, in fact, my memoir. And I had written it and I'd shared it with an aunt that I, rarely get to see. So I sent it to her, and she had sent me back a letter and said that, she had read the book, but she wanted me, she really wanted me to concentrate on being kinder to myself and to treat myself like a friend. And I've always remembered her words. I kept her letter too, and that was years ago. I'd like to say more than 15 years ago. And, or I'm sorry, maybe more than 12 years ago. Anyway, it hit home because we all, right? We are our worst critics, and that does not help us at all. In fact, it hinders us because it makes you believe that it could make you believe, I should say, that you're unworthy of any kind of goodness. And the things that we do to ourselves, we would never do to a friend of ours. We would always be kind and understanding and patient. But it's just so funny that we can't do that to ourselves. So this tip, number 1, is be kind to yourself and treat yourself as if you would a friend. Okay, tip number 2. Let's focus here on tip number 2. Let's contemplate an action that you took that proved to be a mistake. What other action could you have taken that may have resulted in a better outcome? Okay, so I'm going to share one of an action that I took that definitely proved to be a mistake. And then I'm going to brainstorm with you other actions I could have taken. Now, this action has to do with one of my children. So one of my daughters was having an issue, and I'm not going to share her issue, but she was having an issue, and I got frustrated with her because I got worried about the issue, right? I could just foresee all the possible consequences that could come if she hadn't, taken my advice and changed her, made better decisions, or made a different decision, I should say. And I sent her a nasty text, and I said, basically, you need to do this or else. And it blew up, and I didn't expect her to react so negatively to that. And then after everything blew up, I was like, oh my gosh, I was sending a text. Why couldn't I have just reworded the text a little bit better than I did, with a little more kindness? And I realize sometimes that that's my children and I love them so much, but because I guess, and this sounds so silly, but because I have a lot more of a vested interest in their success, I end up being less like a friend to them. And that's not godlike. That's not just human kindness. And so I guess I jumped ahead, but that's one of the actions I could have taken, is just stop to think about the text I was sending before I actually sent it. So take a breath, realize that I was actually stressing and worried for her, and I reacted instead of responded. And if I had done that, she would have probably taken my advice more than she did, right? She was obviously just reacting. And so contemplate an action that you proved to be a mistake. Now, why would we want to do that, right? Like bring back all of these mistakes. Well, what that does for me now is it just kind of makes me think about the way I speak or text with them when I am stressing and I'm worried about them. And so just going back and looking at an action that I took that was a mistake, it kind of prepares me for when I'm faced with a similar situation to respond better. And so that's tip number 2. Let's now look at tip number 3. Choose to give others the benefit of the doubt instead of thinking negatively. Find a positive thought. Okay, this is what we're focusing on now. And I have a great example of how I choose not to give my husband the benefit of the doubt. Now, without going into all of the details, I always find myself after he said something to me, right? I'm always doubtful. I have difficulty trusting. So I'll always have that attitude like, is that true? Instead of just thinking, oh, okay. Instead of just listening to his words and being like, oh, that was information that I have to take in. No, I automatically think, wait, I'm skeptical and I'm untrusting. And so what I've actually practiced doing is trying to give my husband the benefit of the doubt, while at the same time recognizing what my biases are to be skeptical, right, and untrusting. So I purposefully, consistently, just very, like I said, very purpose-driven, in a purpose-driven way, try to give people the benefit of the doubt instead of going straight for the negative. I try to find a positive thought. And I always find the 2 words "at least" very helpful. At least this, right? At least that. At least he did this before he did this. And it's very helpful when I use those 2 words, at least, because it helps me to look toward the more positive thought. So 1, 2, 3 tips on how to forgive yourself, right? So it's just all of these 3 things. What it does is it helps you to realize that, we all make mistakes. We all could have taken an action that proved to be a mistake. We all can have, just biases and go-to default switches that we can, that can easily be pressed. But when you focus on these 3 tips, and there are many more, but when you focus on these 3, what that does is that helps you to forgive yourself for the mistakes you made. Alrighty, let's get down to this section right here. I'm going to read it for you. Positive thinking is healthy. It lowers levels of pain and distress on your body, on your mind, and on your soul. You resist sickness. If positive thinking is so healthy for us, why is it so hard sometimes? What are your thoughts? Okay, why, right? If it's so healthy for us, is it so hard? I honestly think being negative, okay? And if you were with me for my first 3 videos, oh gosh, the writing is definitely hard. So I'm just like writing keywords. I'm not going to write sentences, full sentences. Anyway, if positive thinking is so healthy for us, then why is it so hard sometimes? Because negative is easy. Those are my thoughts. And I know that if negative is easy, I don't want to be negative. So I can't take the easy route. I'm going to have to do the work. I'm going to have to be kind to myself, treat myself like I would a friend, contemplate an action that I might have taken that was a mistake. Think about what I could do next time I'm confronted with that kind of situation. And then also just choose to give others the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to do the work, because when I do these three things, it is so much easier to forgive myself and then to forgive others, right? So in these three tips right here, I'm practicing the art and the skill of forgiving myself and forgiving others in one fell swoop. That does it for habit number 4. I hope that you enjoyed this and that it was helpful for you. And if it wasn't, please let me know. Actually, if it was, please let me know. If it wasn't, please let me know. Let me know what I can do to just support your journey in being your best self, because that's what we're aiming to do. And I really benefit, and we all really benefit here by focusing on not just ourselves but others as well. Again, thank you for joining me in habit number 4: forgive yourself, then forgive others. Aloha.